Welcome to Lean Body Mind. In this episode, I'm going to talk about goals, excuses versus reasons, and tough love. Now, I wanted to shoot this video outside, but I didn't because right now it's 87 degrees out, which would make me sweaty, and it's really windy out. So let's talk about goals. I had mentioned this in the last video, the Get Moving video, to start thinking about your goals. I want to clarify that a little bit more, kind of gradually drill down. The difference between a goal and a desire, first of all. Like you can say, I would love to be in the best shape of my life, or I would love to be able to go up a flight of stairs without being out of breath, or I would love to play with my grandchildren and be able to run around with them and not get all worn out. Versus, I will be in the best shape of my life. I will be able to climb a flight of stairs without being out of breath. I will be able to keep up with my grandchildren. If you can't see the difference, one has a bias for action, the goal. A goal is something you and I need to work for. It doesn't just come to us. It's not a wish. It's something that requires effort and commitment. And to that end, I want to talk about the difference between reasons and excuses, because there are going to be times when you might think, nah, not today. I'm not going to put in the work today. Because, and then you have what you think is a reason, but is probably an excuse. An excuse is something we make up. We tell ourselves, I can't do this. It's not something that was inflicted upon us, but rather something that came internally. A reason, on the other hand, is generally something acting upon us that we can't overcome. Now here's an example. And I don't recall if this was something I read in a book or if this was a business class example or what. But in this example, there was an employer and an employee. The employee was consistently tardy coming into work, every day late, and he always had some sort of a reason. The boss said to the employee, listen, I need to have you here on time. And the employee said, I just can't make it. I can't do it. The boss said, what if I were to give you a $10,000 bonus if you made it into work every day for the next year on time? Could you do that? And the employee said, well, heck yeah. The boss said, then you can do it for free. Nothing changed in your circumstances other than your motivation. I provided a motivation to you, and then suddenly you were capable. So we need to have a strong internal motivation that keeps us going after our goal. And to that end, there may be some situations as we go through this where I deal out a little bit of tough love. Now maybe it's to specific comments that some of you leave, like I can't do this because of this. I will likely challenge that. But in other situations, it may be me just creating excuses on your behalf or on everybody's behalf, because we all have them. Like, I don't have enough time. There's only so many hours in the day. That's a common one. And I'm going to give you my feedback on that. And I'm not going to hold anything back, because that's not really the way I am. Now, when I was younger and I heard some of these things, there's only so many hours in the day, I would say, and I would hear, you know what? We've all got the same 24. Get up earlier. Find the time. Prioritize. And I thought, wow, you're kind of a jerk. But you know what? Whoever told me that was right. So we'll talk more about that and sort of tough love in the future. Today, though, I want to talk also about the reason, and I think this is a reason, not an excuse, why I didn't run today. Yesterday, we left for the Wisconsin Dells. It was Terry and me and my grandson Colton to a water park in the Wisconsin Dells. I got up early before we left, went out for my run/walk, so I made sure I got that in. This morning, I had thought, or I had planned, that even though we're out in Wisconsin Dells and we were on vacation, I was still going to get up at my usual 5 o'clock, give or take, and get out and run. However, there was a little bit of a freak accident yesterday afternoon. We were having a blast at the water park, and they have those like playgroundy type of areas, multiple tiered, with water slides and hoses and things spraying, and every so often there'd be that big bucket of water that dumps out and soaks everybody. Well, I was going down some stairs trying to catch up with Colton. Meanwhile, I've got all kinds of misbehaved kids, no manners, running at me and pushing and stuff like that, trying to get up. And the waterfall came down and I slipped with my right foot and it got wedged between two planks. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail here because I don't want to gross anybody out, but it was pretty gnarly. And maybe if you're easily grossed out, you can plug your ears right now just for a second, and then I'll do a little wave when it's all better. But both my two smallest toes on my right foot got jammed into this. Lost the toenails on both of them. Lost a bit of flesh on the top, especially of the fourth toe. They are incredibly black and blue and swollen. And Terry, my wife, is a nurse. She said, yeah, the pinky's definitely broken, and probably the, I was going to call it the ring finger toe, but the fourth toe does not look good either. So I felt I'll give myself a day of recovery and see if I can't figure out how to tape this thing up to make it secure enough that I can get back out and run tomorrow. But that's, and I feel kind of like David Goggins at this point, you know, running through an injury like that. But if I couldn't do that, what would I do? What would be the thing that I would do to keep me on my path towards my goal? Well, I've got a Bowflex. I could set that up in rowing mode and just do a half hour of rows. Use that as my cardio. There's almost always a way. If your goal means enough to you, you'll find a way. And that then becomes my last little bit of instruction before we talk about goals, probably in the next video, and really establishing our goals is, what is that thing that is so important to you that you won't let something stand in your way, that you will find a way to get it done? Think about that and make that your goal. I'll be back in the next episode and we'll talk a little bit more about goals. We'll talk about my system for establishing them, the action items then that you do on a daily basis, the habits that you create to achieve those goals, and how we're going to measure them. See you next time, and thanks for watching.